principle of Aesculap or Asklepios, the healer god. And the city was a trading city as well as a healing resort, a medical city really. And what we see here, all this installation is maybe 10-15% of what was once there, because there was an island out there, they said, and there were two cities, one on the island, one on land. And then a lot of the stuff disappeared in some sort of a cataclysmic event. 80% is in the sea, and they're still digging out, they're still excavating, and with the sea level rise of the last year, the water from the sea came actually into the city through over the wall and underneath, and it's basically excavating the material out at sea. So you find pottery, maybe Iberic even from 5,000 years before. Yes. So you have layers and layers of civilization sitting on the same spot, yes, literally thousands of years.
Asklepios was the son of Apollo, the god of beauty and healing, and he was in turn, Apollo was the son of Zeus. So Asklepios is actually the son of Apollo and also a god of healing and health. Quite a history in ancient Greek civilization. I can see why also Salvador Dali chose this area. It's a very special area.
Oh yes.
With time melting into infinity. And in fact it was Salvador Dali who painted his famous work of art, The Persistence of Memory, right in that area, in that little enclave, right there. And one can understand, because there is something about this area that is melting in time, that is infinite, and that you can feel how time is actually subjective.
Yes.
And which was the point, as Salvador Dali said, one of the points of his painting is to break up the preconception of objective conventional time. He opened up the realm of subjective time right here.
I am here with Dr. King in Empurion, the famous ancient site that goes over generations of civilization, Iberic, Phoenician, Greek here. And this is the southern portal, the entrance to the city of Empurion, which was dedicated to Asklepios, the great healer, and also to Serapis. And Dr. King, the great healer, you're now in your site, where we're charging up together with the energy of Dali, who painted here Persistence of Memory.
I can see why Dali chose this ancient site to work on his painting, The Persistence of Memory, because one senses the subjectivity of memory, and it was his purpose to crack open, to dissolve the conception of objective memory, because objective memory is going to be filtered and really determined by subjective memory. So I can understand why he would choose this site. There's something magical about the ocean. The Phoenicians, later the Greeks, later the Romans landed here, and this was for them a sacred site.
Yes, and you notice also the building structure. Some of the elements of the city are built similar to how the Egyptians and the Mayans built. There's a connection there, and they said that they were taught this architecture really by the star people, by the Pleiades in particular. And we see pieces of the architecture and the structure, particularly down by the sea, that remind you of what the even more ancient civilizations were using in terms of architecture, levitation techniques they had. King Castells explained to us they could actually move entire beams and transport over things that we actually today don't have the technologies, because this was built by very advanced people.
True, and what is interesting and what would shed light on all of this is if we keep in mind the insights of quantum physics, energy, and if we are able to tune in, which I believe the ancients to a large degree were able to, we may have forgotten this art, but if we are to tune into alternative states of consciousness, we will be able to receive the emanations,
Yes.
The emanations, invisible emanations, whereby we can gain further insight. So,
That's right, they have this here in the site because it was dedicated to medicine, the art of healing, and we feel they had advanced techniques to heal somebody, maybe by putting them in a long sleep or into, like you said, an altered state where healing processes could go much more effectively.
yes,
It was also a trading city, I have to say. It was both medical and trading.
yes. And the Greeks made pilgrimages to the Greek god
Yes,
of healing.
yes,
The father of Asklepios was Apollo. The father of Apollo was Zeus.
yes.
And so we can see the lineage. It's a very inspiring lineage.
Yes, and they had a temple here dedicated to the medical science. This ancient city of Empurion, which was dedicated to healing, afterlife as well, Serapis, Asklepios, and it was a trading city. They were trading crafts, they were trading knowledge as well, and they were trading, of course, olives, wine, fish. They had special salt factories here, very advanced techniques of how they prepared food and shipped it around. This is fantastic. In the early morning with the light that repeats the structure of what Dali painted.
One can see there even a well.
They had canalization systems, deep wells, seals.
Actually quite sophisticated canalization.